The rain had been coming down in sheets for over an hour. My windshield wipers fought a losing battle, groaning against the relentless downpour. The road stretched empty in both directions. No lights, no towns, just endless trees and a horizon swallowed by gray. Somewhere behind me, my car's engine had sputtered its last breath, leaving me stranded and cursing under my breath. That's when I saw the sign. A flickering neon glow blinked through the mist, half covered by overgrown weeds. Vacancy. The building behind it barely qualified as a motel. Peeling paint, cracked windows, and a sagging roofline. But right now, it might as well have been a five-star resort. I grabbed my backpack and made a run for the front door, rain soaking through my jacket. Inside, the lobby smelled faintly of mildew and something older. Wood rot, maybe, or stale perfume. A dusty lamp flickered weakly behind the front desk, where a woman sat hunched over a crossword, her pen hovering midair as I entered. She looked up. Older than she first appeared. Early 60s, maybe. Her hair was pinned back too tightly, and her eyes were a little too wide, like she hadn't slept properly in weeks. "Need a room?" she asked. Her voice was tired but careful. "Yeah, just for the night. My car died a few miles back." I smiled, trying to make light of it. "Looks like I'm stuck here." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Most of the place is empty," she muttered, opening the ledger. "I can give you room 207. She reached for a key, paused, then with a tiny frown, grabbed a different one instead. A brass tag glinted faintly. 209. She stopped mid-motion. Her eyes flicked to the number. Her fingers tightened around the key. "Wait," she said. "No, not that one." She pulled the key back like it was hot to the touch. "Room 209 isn't available." "But you just gave it to me." She didn't answer. Instead, she fumbled for another key, handed it over with a trembling hand. "Take 207, please." But I was already curious, already intrigued. "What's wrong with 209? Her gaze hardened. "It's already taken." A beat of silence passed between us. The rain thudded harder on the roof. "Doesn't seem like you've got a lot of guests," I said, gesturing around the empty lobby. She didn't respond. Just looked past me like she was watching something move behind the glass door. I took the 209 key from the counter before she could stop me. "I'll take this one." She didn't argue, but as I turned to go, she whispered, barely audible, "Don't listen to her. Not at night." I paused. "Who?" But she had already gone back to her crossword, her pen scratching lines that didn't make sense. That night, lying in the cold bed of room 209, I told myself she was just strange, maybe a little senile, harmless. I thought she was joking, until I heard the whispering. Room 209 looked exactly how you'd expect a forgotten motel room to look. Stale air, a broken lamp in the corner, beige walls that might have once been white. But the strangest thing, it felt warm, like someone had just left moments before I arrived. The bedspread was neatly tucked, but there was an indentation on the pillow. Dust danced in the air, yet the floor near the bathroom door was smudged with wet footprints. I stepped inside and glanced toward the mirror above the sink. It was fogged up. Steam clung to the glass like the room had just seen a long, hot shower. I rubbed my sleeve against it. A cold sensation crept through my arm. Not from the mirror, but from something else, like static under my skin. As the fog cleared, I saw it, faint, like it had been written with the edge of a fingertip, just beneath the surface condensation. "You see me now?" I stepped back. The message was still there. My heart kicked into a higher gear, but I forced a laugh. Maybe someone else had been in this room earlier. A maid, another guest, someone playing a prank. Still, I took a long breath. "It's just a reflection," I whispered. "That's all." That night I couldn't sleep. Not really. The rain had slowed, but the wind was picking up. Branches scratched the window like skeletal fingers, and the radiator groaned in bursts, as if the room was breathing, expanding and contracting. At 2:12 a.m., I heard the shower turn on. I bolted upright in bed. I listened. The water ran steadily like someone was standing under it. I grabbed my phone, 3% battery, and crept toward the bathroom. The door was slightly ajar. Steam hissed out in soft waves. I pushed the door open. Nothing. The tub was dry, the faucet wasn't dripping, but the mirror was fogged again. Same message. You see me now? Only this time below it, new words had formed. I see you too. I didn't sleep after that. Around 4 a.m., the window slammed open on its own. Curtains fluttered like they were trying to escape. I rushed over, locked it, and checked the hallway through the peephole. Nobody. When dawn finally came, I thought I might finally feel normal again. But as I gathered my things, I heard a sharp, urgent knock at the door. 3 quick taps. I opened it. No one. Just the hallway, empty and still. Cold air spilled in like someone had been standing there just seconds ago. I turned back into the room and froze. There on the opposite wall, cast by no lamp and no sun, was a shadow. Long hair, slender frame, slight tilt of the head. Like someone was standing right beside me, watching. I blinked, and it was gone. But in the silence that followed, I swear I heard it. A breath, low and soft. Not mine. The third night, the whispering began again. Only this time, it knew my name. Ethan! It came from the far corner of the room, where the shadows never quite disappeared, no matter how bright the lamp was. The voice was soft, sorrowful, like someone calling from the bottom of a well. I sat up in bed, my breath caught in my throat. Ethan, I didn't answer. I didn't move. Then I heard it, my own voice, muffled, distant, like I was talking in my sleep. I'm here. I felt my skin crawl. I don't talk in my sleep. I never have. The voice spoke again, but now it was closer, closer to the bed. Why did you leave me? I turned on the bedside lamp. Nothing. Empty room. Stillness. But I could still hear it, not in the air, but somewhere deeper. Inside my head, inside the walls. I barely slept. At sunrise, the room felt heavier than before, like gravity had tripled overnight. I got up, groggy, and stumbled over something beneath the bed. It was a photograph, old, faded at the edges, tinted in that pale, sun-washed yellow that comes from decades of neglect. A woman, standing in front of a bathroom mirror. Her face was turned slightly as if listening, but it wasn't her expression that froze me. It was the mirror behind her. In the reflection, there was no photographer, just me. Same eyes, same tired look, same shirt I was wearing right now. My hand trembled as I flipped the photo over. On the back, written in faint, feminine cursive, "We were never apart. You just forgot." The rest of the day passed in a haze. I walked into town, bought coffee, tried to call someone, anyone, but my phone refused to find a signal, even in daylight. People looked at me strangely, like they knew something I didn't, or maybe like they'd seen me before. Back at the motel, things only got worse. I'd drift off only to wake up standing in the corner, facing the wall. Once I woke up with the shower running, steam curling under the door. Another time, the mirror was already fogged, though I hadn't used the sink in hours. But the worst moment? I was brushing my teeth. Just routine. Something to make me feel normal. When I looked up into the mirror, she was standing behind me, a woman in a white dress, pale skin, black hair soaking wet, as if she'd just stepped out of the rain. But her face was mine. And I wasn't afraid. I was calm, like I'd seen her before, like I'd been her. Then she whispered again, right into my ear, though her mouth never moved, "Don't leave me again." And I answered, not with fear, not with confusion, but with something like longing. "I won't." By the fourth morning, I was unraveling. Dark circles under my eyes, skin cold to the touch. Thoughts fractured, like radio static between two frequencies. The voice hadn't come last night, not in words at least, but I'd woken up crying, with wet footprints leading from the bathroom to the foot of my bed. That was it. I needed answers. I marched to the front desk. The same woman was there, her crossword still half finished, pen tapping absently against the paper. She didn't look up as I approached. "You need to tell me what's going on," I said, voice low, barely hiding the tremor. Still no reaction. Room 209, the woman, the mirror, the shower. You knew something that night when you gave me the wrong key. She finally looked at me. Her eyes were rimmed red, like she hadn't slept either. I didn't give you that key, she said softly. You did. No, I almost did. But you took it before I could stop you. I opened my mouth to respond, but she cut me off. She's still there, she whispered. I froze. Who? The woman hesitated. Then with a glance over her shoulder, like someone might be listening, she leaned forward. She checked in 5 years ago, alone, quiet, paid in cash, stayed one night. At least she was supposed to. But she never left. We found her bags, her clothes, makeup on the sink, shower still wet. No body. No. No name. She paused. She didn't sign the guest book. I remember I asked her twice. She smiled like she already had. My skin went cold. Police? They searched. Room was locked from the inside. No prints but hers. They called it a disappearance. But me? She looked straight at me now. I call it something else. I swallowed. What? She's waiting. That room, it holds people, especially the lonely ones, especially the ones who've already started to forget who they are. I shook my head, but I already knew what she meant, because I'd heard a name, a soft name. It came to me in dreams and whispers, in my own voice when I wasn't awake. Clara. That was her name. The woman in the mirror, the voice in the dark. Clara. And even stranger than recognizing the name was knowing she had once whispered mine. Ethan, the front desk woman said, like testing it out on her tongue. That was her last word. The day she checked in, she said it when she looked at the door to 209, like she was calling someone back. I staggered backward. The lobby walls felt too narrow, the air too thick. She's not haunting you, the woman said barely above a breath. She's remembering you. The fourth night was the quietest. No whispering, no water, no creaking floorboards or swinging curtains, just silence, thick, unnatural, like the room was holding its breath. I tried to tell myself it was over, that maybe confronting the woman at the front desk had done something, broken the spell, brought me back to reality. Then I saw the envelope. It had been slid under the door just before dawn. Cream-colored paper, a faint stain on the corner. No name on the outside, no sound when I picked it up. Inside, just 5 words, written in uneven black ink. You were always here, Ethan. The handwriting was unmistakable. I recognized the slant, the half-formed E, the way I dotted my I, just slightly off-center. It was mine. My legs went weak. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed, the note trembling in my hand. I tried to convince myself I'd written it in my sleep, or maybe I'd scribbled it days ago and forgotten. But I knew better. This wasn't forgetfulness. This was remembering. The room pulsed around me, the air heavy with something I couldn't name. I got up slowly and walked to the bathroom. The mirror was already fogged, but not from steam, from the inside. I wiped my hand across the glass and froze. She was there, but it wasn't just her, it was me too. 2 faces, layered over each other, one slightly behind the other. Mine wide-eyed and pale. Hers, soft, solemn, familiar, like a memory I'd once loved and lost. Our features lined up. Her hand raised when mine did. Her lips parted at the same time. She blinked through me, and I finally understood. This wasn't a haunting. This wasn't about a ghost. This room didn't just keep people inside. It merged them. I wasn't Ethan anymore. Or at least, not only. I was Clara too. The woman who disappeared. The voice in the walls. The reflection in the mirror. And somewhere deep inside me, her thoughts flickered like dying candlelight. I remembered the sound of water on tile. The taste of motel soap. The moment she realized no one was coming back for her. She hadn't vanished. She had become the room. And now, so had I. I backed away from the mirror, gasping for breath that wasn't mine. I grabbed the note from the bed, turned it over. Another line had appeared, faint as breath on glass. I missed you. And somehow, I knew. I had written that too, before I ever arrived. Morning came. The sun bled pale light across the broken parking lot. Fog clung low to the pavement like it was trying to hide the motel from the world. Room 209 was quiet. No footsteps, no breathing, no whispers. Just a closed door. The bed was untouched, though the pillow still bore the faint shape of a head. The bathroom mirror was clear for once. Blank, empty, no sign of Ethan, no sign of anyone. At the front desk, the woman sat in her usual chair, staring at the same crossword puzzle she hadn't finished for days. A new pen sat beside it. She hadn't touched it since the night he arrived. A local deputy had come by asking questions. A missing persons alert had gone out, but she didn't say a word. Not because she didn't know what happened, but because no one would believe her. A few days passed. Then one night just after sunset, a dusty blue sedan pulled into the parking lot. Headlights cut through the growing dark. The engine shut off and a man stepped out, mid-30s, road-weary, dragging a suitcase behind him. He walked through the glass door, the bell above it jingling faintly. "Got any rooms?" he asked. The woman looked up, her face blank, mechanical. "Just one left," she said. Her voice was soft. "Room 209. The man nodded, oblivious. "I'll take it." She hesitated. Her fingers hovered over the key ring. Then she pulled the brass tag from its hook and set it on the counter. "But," she said, almost whispering, "I wouldn't recommend it." The man raised an eyebrow. "Why?" She stared past him, past the door, past the trees, past the years. "Some guests, they never check out." He laughed awkwardly, took the key and turned toward the hallway. She didn't stop him. The camera would follow him down the dim corridor, past the flickering light bulbs, past the other empty rooms, and finally stopping just before the door marked 209. He slid the key into the lock. The door creaked open. Inside, silence. Dust. Stillness. But as the camera slowly pulled away, down the hall, back through the lobby, past the vacant sign outside now glowing red against the dusk, a voice, soft and longing, echoed faintly through the walls. "Ethan." A pause, then another voice. Familiar. Calm. "I never left." And somewhere deep inside that room, the mirror began to fog again.